Hello anybody, and welcome back to Banjo-Kazooie. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and in the last episode we adopted a family of polar bears. And in today's episode we're going to be ditching them, just like their father did. We are just terrible people. No, but really, in the last episode I think we got about 6 Jiggies in this world, and in today's episode we're going to be gathering up the rest as much as we can anyway, because we cannot get all of the Jiggies here quite right away, but we will get as many as we can. And here we have Boggy.
Hello again, buddy. I'm waiting for someone to race me.
We'll race you! Numbutt!
Sorry, you're too big for my sled. I can only race someone smaller.
So we're not allowed to race him because we are too big. And you might be able to guess what we're going to have to do in this episode. Well, anyway. Now that you've gotten the gist of that, we're actually going to come around to the other side of this hut. And on the other side of this hut is Jinjo. And what does a Jinjo do is, you know, we gotta get 5 of them in order to get that. So in the last episode, as I was saying, we did about 6 Jiggies worth of Freezeezy Peak, which is a fan favorite world of the game. We got all of the, I think we got all of the snowman related Jiggies because we killed all of the accurate snowmen who make your flying time just a lot harder. And you might be wondering, what are you doing? Why are you just jumping around here? And the thing is, I'm trying to get up on this chimney so I can fly, because we want to get over to Mumbo's hut. Because Mumbo's hut has something exciting for us. Magic. Magic is always exciting. Don't knock magic. We're also just going to get this life up here just because I do appreciate the detail that they made the skull look a little frozen and have some ice in like the nostrils, because if this is an icy world, why would it just look like his other skulls? Hey, Jinjo. And we're gonna come up here, and we are going to grab that. So you might be wondering, now that we're in a snow world, what kind of transformation are we gonna get? Are we gonna get a penguin or a polar bear? Even though there are already polar bears in this world, we're gonna land on the fire and burn our butt. Now anyway, we are just going to give him 15 tokens, and we are gonna become a walrus.
Banjo got all fat. Got big teeth.
Thanks, Mumbo, you did this to me. Mumbo, you can't make... whatever. And you might be thinking, even though we're a walrus and are walruses bigger than bears? I don't know. Technically, we're smaller than when we were Banjo, which means we can race in the big race, I guess? I don't really understand this so well, but yeah. Here is the gist of the walrus. He cannot attack and defend himself like a certain crocodile can, but he can go in icy waters and, I guess, well, that's really the gist of it. That's mainly it. Not a big fan of the walrus. I mean, the design is fine, but it's kind of ridiculous and in a trend of not so useful transformations.
Hey, Mr. Walrus, fancy a race? Hop on the sled if you do.
I don't know why I can't figure out a voice for Boggy.
Great, now all you need to do is steer your sled through the red slalom gates and beat me to the end. Got it? 3, 2, 1, go!
And we're gonna continue on, and I don't know why I say continue on, but we're gonna be doing this race now, which is actually a lot slower than I remember it being. Not really any way to speed up, you just gotta wanna keep ahead of Boggy and cut your turns as much as you can, and if you keep yourself in front of Boggy just like so, he won't be able to pass you, but he does have rubber banding AI, so if you do get too far ahead of him, he will catch up. And it actually does, it would behoove you to maybe even fall behind for a moment. How did he go up on top of the house? That makes no sense. This whole race makes no sense. This is just, why am I a walrus? Why can't I just ride on this sled as Banjo and Kazooie? They would have fit just fine. It's because we have arms and legs and the walrus looks a little more fitting on top of the thing. Why am I even complaining? This is ridiculous. Anyway, he's gonna pass us here. That's normal. It's fine. We want to jump up this slope, and we've nearly overpassed him again. When you get up to these slopes, the fastest thing to actually do is to jump up them, because you just immediately get to the top, and they're the last notes in the level that we are gonna need. And Boggy's disappointed.
You're too quick for me, Mr. Walrus. Here's your medal. I reckon I need to race someone my own size. Now,
I saw this mentioned in another LP of this game. It's kind of funny. is he knows this was a medal, but he couldn't tell another Jiggy was a Jiggy and he ate it. He's not very smart. Anyway, he said he's gonna have to race someone his own size, but that's something we can't do anything with yet because we need to move from the next world. So we're only gonna be getting about 9 Jiggies total in this episode. You found all 100 notes on this world. Well, and cut you off.
Oh, another walrus. Take this. But watch out for a smelly brown bear and his ugly bird partner.
What a jerk. What a jerk. I know that's not really anything to really care about, but anyway, now that he's not blocking his home, we can go in his cave.
Why, hello again, Mr. Walrus. Feel free to have a look around Waz's cave.
And there is, in fact, a Jinjo up there who we cannot get. And this is something that Banjo-Kazooie kind of does with a few of its transformations, is it makes areas inaccessible until you go there with your transformation, and then you have to go back after you've turned back to normal, and that's kind of... It does feel a little bit like padding, a little bit. And for Banjo-Kazooie, which normally doesn't have a lot of padding, it just feels a little gross. Anyway, we're not going to hang out in this cave too much, aside from getting that honeycomb piece. We did want the walrus for the year, though. We cannot get through here as Banjo-Kazooie. The ice is too cold and it will murder you. I'm pretty sure, at least. I don't think you can get through there as Banjo-Kazooie. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm probably not. Because I'm always right. Always. Always. Anyway, that's actually surprisingly almost done. Yeah, we're almost done Freezeezy Peak. We're just gonna careen off the edge of that. So now that we've gotten those, we're done with the walrus. We've done the 2 things the walrus is good for, is get 2 Jiggies, 1 from the walrus, and open the cave, and finish the first race. So we're gonna be done with the walrus forever now. Not as useful, and we don't do anything with him outside of the world either, so not really useful. Oh well. You will notice, though, that this comes right after a world in which we already had a transformation, so that is a collective down 25 tokens. And after this, the tokens will cost 20, so they do get really expensive, as you can clearly see. We need 10 before we can get the next one, but that won't be for another couple worlds yet. Anyway, the last thing we need to do before we go now is to, well, get these boots, I guess, and get that Jinjo in Waz's cave, and that'll be the last thing we can do here for now. I do like how the boots are proportionately timed. Like, each set of boots will last a certain amount of time, what is fitting for what you need to get across a certain hazardous area. And I like that more than just, say, scattering them throughout a long area. Although the maze in Bubble Gloop Swamp kinda does that, but maybe they only decided to do that after they made it, or maybe there's a reason they did it that way. I don't know. Anyway, we come back into Waz's cave, and he's like,
Eek, the bear again. Take that noisy orange thing with you and leave. Waz alone.
And that brings us up to the 9th Jiggy. And for now, this is as close as we're gonna get to 100%ing this level. So that basically means we're gonna leave after having this triumphant music in this empty cave. Actually, this is where you would get the ice key after breaking open this wall. And I talked about swap and stop at the end of Treasure Trove Cove when I got to Shark Food Island. But basically, normally in the N64 version of the game, and if you don't have Banjo-Tooie on the Xbox Live Arcade version of the game, and you don't use a cheat, that area is usually sealed off and there's a giant ice key behind it. But I digress. We are gonna leave this level now, and we're gonna leave in the best way possible, by flying out. Take us away, Flying Pad. So Freezeezy Peak. You should tell me what you thought of it. It was a fun little area. I actually really like the scale of this level. Because most of the scale is really associated with the giant snowman. So it doesn't feel like this entire level is just a sky level where you fall and you die, even though you can get into risk of that while you're climbing the snowman, but then you just gotta be careful. Anyway, we're gonna be heading out now. It feels weird because when you start Freezeezy Peak, it feels like it takes a little bit to do, like it takes a little while to get into. But then once you start getting Jiggies, you really start getting Jiggies really fast. And that's the impression that I get as I play it again. But anyway, we return to Gruntilda's lair, all the wiser and the better for our trials and tribulations. And what we're going to be doing now is, as we come up here, we're actually going to be setting up to go to the next world. We are not going to be going through that door because it's not relevant to our current goals. Although we certainly could, now that we've got 500 notes. And we're going to activate another warp pot down here. Although we do not have the corresponding one, so it must presumably go to an even higher one in the level. Now riding on top, not riding, but on top of this statue of Gruntilda with its hat, we find Brentilda again.
The disgusting Gruntilda has tadpoles on toast for breakfast. Then she usually has maggot pie for dinner. Yuck! What begs then finishes with a rat sorbet for dessert. How horrid!
I could go for some sorbet. Actually, I don't think I've ever had sorbet. Isn't sorbet like some kind of ice cream? I'm pretty sure it's like sherbet or something. Anyway, where we want to come actually is over here, which only needs 350 notes. So you can do that after Banjo-Kazooie Swamp, and you can actually do this if you want to go to the 5th world before the 4th world. In fact, you have to do this if you want to go to the 5th world before the 4th world. And the portrait for that is right over here. And it is the kind of level that it looks like. It is, in fact, and the music indicates what kind of level it will be too. That deserty music with those statues and that sphinxy thing in the background. That's right, it's a desert world. One of the better desert worlds in video games, actually. Gobi's Valley. Because when usually desert worlds aren't really much to talk about, but Gobi's Valley is a really fun world, and especially after Freezeezy Peak. I mean, Freezeezy Peak wasn't a bad world at all, but I think what makes Freezeezy Peak, and we're not going in here yet, but we will be going in here a lot later, Freezeezy Peak, what makes it special to me is that it kind of kicks off a sequence of my favorite worlds in the game. I like Banjo-Kazooie Swamp, don't get me wrong, and I like Clanker's Cavern, but Freezeezy Peak is kind of a high note, with high notes coming for pretty much every world after that, and this is very true, and my favorite world is actually not far off from now. It's not Gobi's Valley, but it will be soon. Anyway, now that we've opened the door to the 5th world, this is going to be one of those weird examples where we're actually going to have to be going down in order to go up. Because we have to go down in order to get to Gobi's Valley, which is across there. Now, we could just jump across the boiling hot sand, so we will, even though we could get those boots in a different area. And I say that because there's dialogue. Sand eels can survive in here. And this is the entrance to Gobi's Valley. But I'm not going to be doing it this episode, even though we haven't really done that much, and this is going to be a short one, but that's okay. We finished up Freezeezy Peak, even though I could have split those videos a bit better, and we got ourselves set up to go here.
When the back of Grunty's hand whoops your butt, you'll hardly stand.
That was really awkward timing, Gruntilda. I don't know if I like that rhyme at all. Anyway, interruptions aside, if you want to see Gobi's Valley in the next world of the game, then I just hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.